I reviewed about 100 traders, strategies, and trading signals in the last few years. I know what works, I also know what doesn't work. Reviewing so many strategies and taking only the best of each made it possible for me to develop what I personally think is the best trading system. This week, we will look into some of my trades, and we will see which trader you might know about inspired me to trade like this. Inspiration goes both ways. We'll look into some good trades, we'll also look into bad trades, because we can learn from these. And actually, by doing the opposite of what bad traders are doing, I developed some amazing strategies, but that's another subject. We will see how to make these strategies work and why they work. Trading is much simpler than you think. Most of you know how to trade already, but it's kind of easy to get lost. There is so many traders to learn from, so many different ways. Today we'll filter through all of the info we can find online, and we will use only the best. We will see how traders like Lambo Raoul, FX Alex G, or even Swaggy C in some ways inspired my way of trading, my strategies. And it's a bit of a special week because I'm currently on a trip in the Rocky Mountains in Canada. So join me as we trade and travel together for an entire week. Alright, so this here is base camp for the trip. I'm in Squamish, British Columbia, and if you ever have the chance to visit, please do it. This place is amazing. But right away, let's look into our first trade. And I won't do like everyone else on the internet, because this trade I want to show you is actually a trade that ended up on the stop loss. It's a trade that I took earlier today. And I have a very special way of handling trades that go bad, and I think some of you can learn from this, so let's see how it went. First, I want to say that trading indices using fundamentals is my favorite, but we'll get into this later in this video. But this trade, I took it on gold, and what you're about to see is not the full extent of my analysis. I want to keep things easy for you to understand today. We will look into simple price action, and you will see that I often like to go for what I call a bounce setup or a breakout setup. And you will see which trader you might know about also trades like this. So on the 1 hour time frame, I have this big resistance zone, and the trend, to me, it's not clear right now. It's often like this. The 4 hour is in downtrend, and the 1 hour is showing signs that maybe it's the beginning of an uptrend. So when it's like this, I simply disregard the trend. I have no directional bias. So personally, I can have a direction bias because of the trend, or maybe because of fundamentals. Like gold, it's considered a safe haven asset. So maybe because of some situation, I would prefer to buy or sell gold, but we'll get into this later in this video. So in this case, I wanted the price to bounce on this big resistance. We can see the price respected the resistance, and I entered on the retest. It's a fairly simple setup, and it often works great. We will see trades like this quite often with Alex Gonzalez, FX Alex G, or if you've been in the game for quite a while, you might know also about Sébastien Dube from FX Cartel. He also likes these simple bounce setups. So I opened a short trade at 23.34, but it didn't go my way, and it happens. It's all right. It's normal. What I want you to pay attention to, or maybe to take notes about, is my risk to reward ratio, but most importantly, how I handle risk when I'm in drawdown. Because I like to use a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, as it gives my trade a lot of breathing room, and I have a very high win rate because of this. And I know a 1-to-1 is not a trendy thing to do these days, but please bear with me. The thing is, when my trade goes in drawdown, I will gradually take risk off the table. I will close some portion of my trade as the trade moves towards the stop loss. And because of this, the loss I get when I do hit my stop loss is much lower compared to what I gain when I hit my take profit. And because of this, I get results that are very similar to someone who uses a higher risk-reward ratio. So like in this case, I closed half of my lot size at 23.41, and then another half at 23.44, and I ended up hitting my stop loss at 23.47, and I lost about $1,000 on that trade. But if the price would have got my take profit, then I would have held all the way there, and I would have gained about $3,000. So you see how it's basically like using a higher risk to reward, but I do keep my higher win rate because of that breathing room. I realized it was a great idea to do this when I started to do the opposite of what bad traders are doing. If you have some difficulties with one of your strategies, I recommend maybe try to flip it around, and you see the results can be very surprising. Bad traders traders, they like to take their profits super early. They will take partial profits because it feels very good to secure the profit, to reduce the risk as soon as they see a bit of money. If you've seen my video about Swaggy C, you know he loves to do this kind of stuff. But I also looked into plenty of other bad traders that I never reviewed publicly, and they all do this. But what you want to do, actually, it's the opposite. You want to hold on to your good trades all the way to the take profit. Losing trade, it's sadly part of trading, and it's nothing to worry about if you know how to handle them. Even hitting a few stop loss in a row will happen, and it might mess up your psychology. So let's talk about this. In today's world, you need money to put food on the table, to have a roof on top of your head. So because of this, money, it's closely tied to survival in our brains. So it's not natural for our brains to put money at risk. This is why I'm sure it happened to you before, especially when you started trading. When a trade goes bad, you have this very bad feeling inside of you, inside of your chest. This is because your brain at this time actually thinks it's fighting for its survival. What you're feeling inside is actually a physiological response. You have less blood flow at your fingertips and more inside of your chest. Your body is in fight or flight mode. So when this happens, you will rush things. You might not see the chart clearly. You will put your strategy in doubt. It's just not good. And I didn't learn trading psychology on the internet. I mostly read good books about it. There are plenty of good tricks to keep your brain under control, but it's already a great first step to just be aware of it. But one thing to keep in mind is that you should not put your whole strategy in doubt after just a few losses. It's part of the game. There's a lot of traders on the internet who teaches many different strategies, like Mamba FX as an example. And it might pushes people to change their strategy too often, but you have to let things play out. So you have to trust the process and just be confident in your capabilities. And now I want to go back in time to yesterday when I opened a trade on Nasdaq. Good day. So I just opened a trade on Nasdaq and I want to explain to you my reasoning behind it. Indices are my favorite asset to trade and I like to trade them using fundamentals. And I recently gave a review to Chuck Index and his way of trading indices is very similar to mine. Trading with fundamentals, it means understanding what drives the market. And in this case, well, last Friday, it was the non-farm payroll, the NFP, and the employment numbers came much lower than expected. So this is a signal that the US Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, might cut their interest rates a bit earlier, and the market is happy about this. So the Nasdaq has been going up since then, and I've been buying since then. So let's look into it. Today is Wednesday and the Nasdaq, once again, it broke and retested another resistance, the one you're seeing in gray right here. So as it retested, I bought at 18,052 and I'm aiming for the next resistance zone, which is towards 18,200. I'm going for a more or less one-to-one risk-reward setup. My stop loss is below the last support, but as usual, if the trade moves against me, well, I will gradually reduce my exposure. So now all we have to do is wait.
And when I say wait, I mean do something else. I don't want to sit at a computer and just look at the price moving all day. This is why I trade, so that I can travel and just do other things with my time.
So this weekend was epic, but now it's time for some more trading. My trade on Nasdaq closed, and I also have another setup to show you on gold once again. So my Nasdaq trade got to its take profit, and now the index established a new resistance zone. But for now, the fundamental idea is still the same, so I will probably look into buying it furthermore either later today or in the next few days. But I will wait for a break and retest, and I will target my next resistance, which is at 18,400. Overall, I'm happy. It's a good trade. I made about $1,000 with this one. But then now we have another trade, and as I said, this one, once again, it's on gold. And it's a very similar setup to the last one. It's a bounce setup, and I really wish I could have shown you a breakout setup, which is more like what Lambo is doing. But I just don't see any at the moment, and I think it's a very important thing to not rush the market. So anyway, on gold, so that trade, as we can see right here, the price could not break the support on the 4-hour time frame. We got a good rejection. So I waited for a retest of the support on a smaller time frame on the 1 hour time frame. And when I saw that, this is when I entered and I went long, I bought gold. And this time things went quick. It took just a few hours and I got my take profit. I just closed the trade and I made $3,200 on this one, which is great. Once again, I'm happy with a good trade. Obviously, I try to keep things as simple as possible for you here on YouTube because otherwise this video would be like hours long. But actually, I would like to talk about this for many hours with you because I'm passionate about trading. So I'm thinking I could take maybe a small group of 10 or 15 people and I would take you under my wing. I would like to make a difference in your life. What we'll do is a bit of a mix between a boot camp and mentorship sessions. So we'll have small group courses together, and also we'll have one-on-one mentorship sessions like just you and me. We would do this for a whole month and I would show you my exact strategy. I would show you technical analysis, fundamental analysis. We'll talk about psychology and automation as well. We will have a roadmap for you to become a full-time trader. My goal would be that by the end of the month, you could make a living by just trading the market and having plenty of free time so that you can maybe travel the world while you work from your computer. I would like you to be able to live a life like mine or like the traders I reviewed before. If you think you would be interested, click the link below. There will be a waitlist there where you can put your name on and I'll be in touch. And while you're there, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps me. I appreciate. And also subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of my reviews. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.